Hello again, everybody. Today we're going to talk about quadratic equations, and we're going to solve them by factoring. Okay, so whenever possible, we're going to look for a GCF, simplify it down from there, and then use the techniques for factoring quadratic trinomials. Look at number 1 here. We have a 2x squared plus 20x minus 400. The 2, the 20, and the 400 can be reduced. We can factor out a 2 from there. And look at what we're left with, x squared plus 10x minus 200. Then we'll factor in the normal way. Factors of negative 200 that add up to positive 10. Still have the 2 in front. X goes here, and that combination of numbers that work would be a plus 20 and a minus 10. Negative 10 times 20 is negative 200, but negative 10 plus 20 is positive 10. So if we look at what we have here, you can treat those two expressions as little mini equations that you set equal to 0 due to the zero product property. Zero product property says if one of two items being multiplied is 0, the entire quantity is 0. That's what we mean by setting each of these equal to 0. So we just find that x equals 10 here, or x would equal negative 20 over here. Two possible answers. Alright, let's look at number 2. We have x squared plus 11x equals negative 30. We need to get everything to one side. So we're going to add 30 to both sides and set it equal to 0. You always want your equations equal to 0 in order to solve them. The question we're going to ask is what factors of 30 add up to 11? And to answer that question we say 5 and 6. So the two binomials that this turns into is x plus 5 and x plus 6. Set it equal to 0. Then just like on number 1, we're setting both of those expressions equal to 0. Hopefully you can see this okay. X plus 5 equals 0. X would have to be negative 5. X plus 6 equal to 0. X would have to be negative 6. Two answers here, negative 5, negative 6. Alright, let's look at a few more. Got numbers 3, 4, and 5 here. Alright, number 3, have a little bit less room for that. So let's work on that over here. What factors of negative 5 add up to negative 4? That's how we can factor that left side of the equation. Of course, x and x to start us off. Factors of negative 5 that add up to negative 4 would be a minus 5 and a plus 1. Again, you can check to make sure they're right. Multiply those two numbers to get negative 5. Add the two numbers to get negative 4. Solving those each for x, in this case, x would be 5. The other answer, x would have to be negative 1. Just to know what those two answers mean, if we plug either of them back into the either expression, or the original for that matter, it would make the equation equal to 0. That's why they also call solutions to equations zeros for this very reason here. If you set an equation equal to 0, solving it is sort of like finding the zeros, and that corresponds to graphing where it crosses the x-axis. Alright, number 4, we have the AC method again. Here's our A number, here's our C number. And to do this, we multiply those two numbers together. 5 times 2 equals 10. That begs the question, what factors of 10 add up to 11? Sort of our intermediate answer here. We'll do x and x. Factors of 10 that add up to 11 would be a plus 10 and a plus 1. You go back to the A number, the 5, and you divide each of these by 5. If it divides, great. If it doesn't divide, we will just put that number out in front. Okay, so x plus 10 over 5, x plus 2. The 1 doesn't divide by 5. We put the 5 in front of the x. 5x plus 1. still equal to 0. Alright, now I'm going to write these out individually here so we can see them. X plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 2 from both sides to get x equals negative 2. The other equation, 5x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1 from both sides. Divide by 5. X equals negative 1/5. So negative 2 and negative 1/5. Alright, number 5. We have 5x squared minus 10x equals 120. First step, subtract 120 from both sides. Looks like we have a GCF. We can divide out a 5 from everything. X squared minus 2x and then 120 divided by 5 is 24, so this is going to be a minus 24. And then we can factor in the normal way. We ask ourselves, what factors of negative 24 add up to negative 2? And we would say a minus 6 and a plus 4 make that work. We can then solve each of these for x. We get two answers. X equals 6, or x is going to equal negative 4. Alright, let's look at a couple more here to close out. Numbers 6 and 7. A little bit simpler on number 6. Just going to solve this normally. What we can do is we can add 18 to both sides if you want. So notice there's only one x term, x squared. In order to solve for x squared, we would then divide both sides by 8. So we have 18 over 8. 18 over 8 reduces to 9 over 4. In order to find x, we should take the square root of both sides of the equation. And keep in mind that when you take the square root, you really have the positive and the negative possibility. Plus and minus 3/2 will solve that equation. Alright, back to number 7 here. X squared minus 9x plus 14. What factors of 14 add up to negative 9? That would be a minus 2 and a minus 7. So we're going to have x minus 7 and x minus 2. Solving these for 0, x would equal 2 or 7. There you go. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped.